It's the end of an era for one of Cleveland's most well-known institutions. For 40 years, Coach Chuck Kyle has led the Wildcats football team to 11 state titles, 2 national championships, and countless other accolades. Tomorrow is the last regular season game of his career.
Yeah, and once again, like I have my entire life, I'll be sitting in the stands cheering him on. And this morning, I'm sharing a look back on what he taught me and my siblings as a father as we were along for the entire ride.
On the eve of your last regular season game, it's hard to imagine anything will change. We've done this our entire lives.
Her first starting role today, Maureen Kyle.
Hi.
Every fall weekend, we would lay out our blankets, claiming space on the metal bleachers, hearing the sounds of a roaring crowd and a marching band, and watching you pace up and down, back and forth along the sidelines, probably putting in more yardage than any other player. We sat with our grandparents, our aunts, uncles, and cousins, our friends. We sat through heat, rain, snow. We rode buses to Columbus. We had our superstitions. We screamed for every touchdown and became well-versed in first downs and flags thrown. We got used to Mom yelling, "Let's go D!" louder than anyone else in the stands. Yes, we all fell in love with the game of football, but what you actually put into motion was so much more than X's and O's. You taught me, and all of us, a playbook for life. You taught us dedication. You and Mom always laugh about how you coached track practice up until you had to put on your tux and head to the church to get married on a Friday night, but that was you. If you said you would do something, nothing stood in the way of that commitment. And it wasn't enough to just show up. I've run into your former players who say they remember you staying a little late after practice to throw them the ball a few more times until they got the play just right. And even now, when my girls come over, they know Grandpa is going to play from the moment they walk through the door until you help them get in the car. There are very few people in this world who can say that they've spent 50 years in the same job, working 7 days a week with little complaint. You've also been a model of sportsmanship. You've always shown that an opponent is only an opponent for 48 minutes on the field. And once that game is done, there's no rivalry. There's just an ally with the same love of the game. One of the most valuable lessons you hammered home, there's no victory dance in the end zone. You don't boast or brag about the thing that you are expected to do. You take a quick moment of pride and continue on the job. Luckily, your overall humility was a beacon of light because I didn't exactly inherit your athletic abilities. Humility helped when I only scored 4 points within 4 years of CYO basketball. And besides, the most important thing was that I was on a team. And even though most people see you with your game face on, humor was always your secret strength, only known to all of us kids who grew up learning from you.
Blonde hair and a little goofy. And he's only a freshman, and you can tell it.
Is your dad intense? It's a question I get a lot. But you truly live out the advice that you gave me after that very short walk down the aisle. Make sure you laugh every day. When we were moody teens, you diffused our angst with jokes. After you came home from a long day in the classroom and on the field, there were a few impromptu dance parties. And at holidays, everyone wanted to get in on the silly games that Uncle Chico made up. There's no one else who coaches like you. And even though we won't be sitting on those cold metal bleachers every weekend next year, there's no erasing your past accomplishments. And we're not talking about trophies, but the thousands of people that you've impacted with your philosophies. Dad, as a teacher of literature, you know that this is just the start of a new chapter. And we know from watching you on the sidelines, you don't sit still, which is a good thing, because there's a bunch of little kids around here who are ready to learn life lessons.
So he's not a coach just because someone put him in that position. That's his personality. He coaches with everything he does. So even though he won't be on the sidelines next year, I know he's going to find ways to still influence young athletes. I mean, he coaches my youngest through eating vegetables at the dinner table and uses those words of encouragement. So, you know, everybody asks me, what is he going to do? I'm hoping that he travels. So there was a picture of him in Italy. My parents have started to travel, but really, I mean, we had 2 weeks of vacation in July and 2 weeks of vacation at Christmas. Otherwise, he was working weekends every weekend with coaching track and football. So I'm hoping, like as a teacher of literature, I'm hoping that they go to like Paris and see where Hemingway wrote and things like that. So they're both my parents are healthy. They are full of energy. So that's what we're hoping the next chapter is.
That was such a beautiful story. I'm like
Okay.
tearing up
Me
a little
too.
bit. It
I don't know how you
beautiful.
pulled that off without sobbing the entire time.
I bottle it up and I'll
Yeah.
save it for later when I'm all by myself.
Gosh,
So,
and we've all had the pleasure of meeting your parents. I mean, I feel like all of our families are family, right? And your dad is so special.
Thanks.
He's an incredible man, no doubt. I've enjoyed covering him on the sideline, but getting to know him as a person as well. So, and we'll continue to do that tomorrow morning. We'll be live at 6 a.m. from St.
See how this
Ignatius.
is gonna happen?
And then I'll be pulling double duty, and
Yeah.
obviously you'll be there.
Right.
And from 4 to 6:30 tomorrow.
And Jim Donovan did like an hour-long conversation with him because they've known each other forever, like ever since Jim started here. So they go way back, and we're going to have those pieces tomorrow. So today was the family piece. Tomorrow, the Jim and Chuck one-on-one.
Yeah, talk about an interview you don't want to miss.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Chico?
And I mean, I'm going to take away his advice, laughing every day.
Yeah.
Probably some of the best advice anyone could ever give.
He is. He's goofy. He's definitely goofy.
He's smart.
He is smart.
Coach Kyle also raised 4 great children.
Oh, thanks. Thanks. On certain days.
Yeah. Well, Coach Kyle, I dedicate the sunny weekend to you. Absolutely.
Are you sure you didn't score more than 4?
4 points in basketball? No, it was 4
Just
points
4?
in basketball.
I was dying laughing when I heard that one.
That's fabulous.
4 points in 4 years?
It's okay. It's okay. You were on a team. Bigger lesson there, Maureen. Bigger lesson.